Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mensch. The other day I made a video on Qtile, and after it was edited and rendered, I realized I forgot to show a few things. And I didn't really want to go back and change it. And I kind of thought of doing that, but then I thought, well, the video is 45 minutes. I thought that's long enough. So today I'm going to make a short video showing how to do a few more things in the Qtile configuration file. Things I forgot to do in my last video. So let's get to it. Right now, I'm in my main production computer. It's running Arch Linux with the Qtile window manager. And today I'm not going to go into a virtual machine. And I think also today I'm not going to use my capture card to record from another bare metal computer. I think I'm going to stay in this computer. So I'm going to open up a terminal, which would be mod key enter. And now let's open up Firefox, mod key F. And so now I'm going to open up a third app, control mod key P, which is going to open up my file manager. So you see here I have three applications open. I have Xterm, Firefox, and my file manager. And you can see the focus is following my mouse. Now, the problem with this is that I like to have it this way. The only thing is that it makes it really hard to use the layout icon. So this is the layout icon here. And wherever your focus is, when you click on the layout icon, it's going to affect wherever your focus is. And I think I did mention this in my last video, but I didn't show how to change it from follow the mouse focus to click focus. That part I didn't show, but I did show how it was a bit wonky or a bit hard to use the layout icon. So for instance, if I click this now, it's going to make my terminal maximum. If I click it again, it's going to bring in columns. If I click it again, it's going to bring monad wide, and click it again, we're back into tall. It's wherever the focus is. So let's say I want my file manager to be maximum full screen. So I move my mouse over to it, so I have the focus on there. But the focus has to stay on my file manager when I click on the layout icon, which is kind of hard to do because if I go this way to get to it, it automatically brings the focus to my terminal. But I don't want the focus to be on my terminal. I want the focus to be on my file manager. So really, to do that, I got to kind of go down, and it's easy to do because I have gaps. Now, when I made my last video the other day, I called it gaps, and I said in the video that Qtile does not call it gaps, but I couldn't remember the name. Well, the name is margins. In Qtile, they're not called gaps, they're called margins, but really, as far as I'm concerned, they're gaps. So because I have gaps or margins here, it's a little easier to do because I can go keep the focus on here and I can go off screen. You can't really see my mouse now. I can stay off screen. In this part, I did, oops, see now the focus switched. So I got to bring the focus back here, go off screen, go all the way up. Now, if you don't have margins or gaps, it's impossible to do. Here, now I'm there. So now when I click it, my file manager is the main screen and it becomes full screen or on max. Okay. And if I click it again, it's like that. Okay. So I do like using follow the mouse focus, but if you're going to be using this icon a lot, the layout icon, and if you're going to be opening more than one app on the same workspace, and actually they're not even called workspaces in Qtile, I think they're called groups. Why? I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, they're workspaces. But if you're going to be opening up more than one app on the same workspace, it might be better not to use follow the mouse focus, even though I do like it though. So to change it to click, and when you change it to click, it's a lot easier to use the layout icon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this max and I'm going to open up Qtile. Now, like I said in my last video, in my Zesh configuration file, I have an alias to open up Qtile. And this is only going to work for you if you downloaded my Zesh configuration file, the Qtile config. And so line 292 in my configuration file, right now I have it on follow mouse focus equals true. So if you go to the end and change that to false and save the file, it's going to make it so you're going to have to click it on. And that really makes it easier to use the layout icon. And also too, when you type in the word false, you have to put a capital F in there. Okay. So now that we changed the configuration file, to make the change take effect, I have to do Control Mod key R to reset Qtile. And now my Qtile is set. So let's change this back. So now you see when I move my mouse around, the focus doesn't change. So like right now, the focus is on my file manager. The focus doesn't change. So I have to click it. So let's say I want Firefox to become maximized. I'm going to click it on, and it's going to stay focused on Firefox no matter where I move my mouse. Now I can easily and quickly go up to the layout icon and click it on again, click it on again, and now Firefox is maximized. So that's how you change your focus from follow the mouse to click. So now the focus is on click. If I want the focus to be on my terminal, there it is. Now the focus is on Xterm, and now I can click on this, click it on again, and now we're in max. So there's advantages and disadvantages to using both methods, focus by following the mouse or focus by click. But focus by click makes it a lot easier to use the layout icon, and that's how you change the focus. Now, I think I forgot to tell you how to move your app to another monitor if you're using two monitors. I'm not sure now if I showed that or not. So let's just go to Workspace 1. And let's open up Firefox here. Mod key F is going to open up Firefox. Now, I want to move it to another monitor. Well, Firefox is on Workspace 1, or I think it's called Group 1. And like I said, I don't know why they're calling it groups, but I'm going to call it Workspace. It's on 1, right? So all I got to do is go to my other monitor and click on the 1. And it's going to move Firefox to Workspace 1 or Group 1 on the other monitor. So you can see Firefox is now on monitor 2. And if I go to an empty workspace on monitor 2, you can see I'm recording monitor 2, and you can see monitor 2 has different wallpaper. Now I'm recording monitor 1 again, but Firefox is on number 1, but on monitor 2 on the other monitor. I want to bring it back to this monitor. I'm just going to click it on. Now Firefox is back here. So now I'm going to close that. Shift Mod key C is going to close it. Now, another thing is that I have GNOME calculator installed, and Mod key C is going to open it because that's the key binding I have for it. And I'm just going to open it on this workspace or this group. Mod key C. Now look at that. Now there's two things going on here. Number one, it's bright white. Sorry about that. With some of the GNOME apps, and this is a side issue, but some of the GNOME apps don't function properly with dark mode, or at least I don't know how to make them function properly with dark mode unless you're using them on the GNOME desktop environment. So like this calculator is bright white. I haven't figured out how to make it dark theme. Now I used to know how to make it dark theme, or I shouldn't say that. It used to work properly with dark theme, and it stopped working properly maybe a year ago. And I don't know how to make it work properly with dark theme, except, in my wife's computer is running the GNOME desktop environment, and the GNOME calculator works properly with dark theme. But so like I'm saying is some of the GNOME apps, when you're not using them with the GNOME desktop environment, dark themes don't work or function properly with them. Now, maybe there's a way to do it, and I just don't know how to do it yet. But that's not my reason for opening it. So I apologize for the bright white, but look at it. Why would you want your calculator to look like that, right? And if you click it here, nothing happens. And, you can't, the only thing you can do is move it to another workspace. So what I'm going to do is close it. And I'm going to go back to workspace 6. And what I'm going to do is, I don't need these here, so I'm going to close them. And see, now I have click on. So now I actually have to click it to make my focus go on the thing I want to close, right? So now I'm going to go down to line 301, where it says, well, first of all, we're under the heading of floating layouts. Now, of course, in the default configuration, it's probably not 297. It's probably much lower because this is my configuration file, which has a lot of things added to it. So if you're using a default, it's probably not so far down. So line 297 is floating layout. Line 301 is deactivated right now, and I deactivated it for the video. And line 301 I put in there. It wasn't in there by itself. I put it into my configuration file. So I'm going to delete the hashtag to activate the line. I'm going to save the file, and I'm going to restart Qtile. Control Mod key R. So now I'm going to go to Workspace 1. and I'm going to open up GNOME Calculator. So I have it mod key C is the command. Oh, wait a minute, what happened? It's still the same. So now I'm going to go here. Well, I'm going to click this on. I'm going to take my mouse. You're only going to have to do this once, by the way. Okay, so I'm just going to reshape it. There we go. Oops, there we go. And you're only going to have to do this once. So first you have to put that command in there, which is already in there in my configuration file. And then you have to click this on and reshape it. And you only have to do it once. Okay, so now I closed it. And let's do mod key C is going to open it. And there you go. And even after you reboot, it has memory. So it's going to stay like this unless you go here and unless you go to line 301 and delete the line or put a hashtag there or a number sign there to deactivate the line. So let's go back to workspace 1. Let's close it. So like I said, even after reboot, it's going to have memory. Mod key C, it's going to open it and you can move it around. And if you want, you can move it to the other monitor. So I moved it to the other monitor and now I got to change my camera. And there it is. You see, now we have it on monitor 2. Okay. And you can tell it's on monitor 2 because it's the wallpaper for monitor 2. And I can just move it with my mouse. Okay. Move it wherever I want and I can bring it back to monitor 1. Now it's on monitor 1, so you can't see it. So you can't see it until I change the focus of OBS Studio back to monitor 1, which I'm going to do right now. There you go. So now it's here. So that's how you fix GNOME Calculator. Now, if you download my Qtile configuration file, it's automatic, and you have GNOME Calculator, it's automatically going to be working like this, although you might have to shape it the first time. Let's open up that. So let's open up Firefox. Let's just open up 2 this time. So let's say you want to change the size of these, right? And I don't think I showed this in the other video. And for some reason, it's not working in Monad Tall. I don't know why, but it does work in columns. So let's say you want to change the size. So you put the focus on the one you want to change. Let's put the focus on my terminal and Control Mod key L, okay, does that. And Control Mod key H does that. Control Mod key L. And if you put the focus on Firefox, Control Mod key L goes that way. Control Mod key H goes that way. Now, let's say, now these are called margins, but I call them gaps, and they're called gaps in other window managers. Let's say you want to change those. So let's go back into Qtile. So we're back in my Qtile configuration file, and let's go to the top, and let's do, I think it's on 169. Let's just jump to it. There it is there. So in the last video I showed you, in line 177, by default, there are only 2 layouts activated in the default configuration file. It would be line 178, layout columns, and line 180, layout max. Those are the only 2 that are activated. So I deactivated layout columns 178, and I activated line 179, Monad Tall, line 180, layout max, 181 layout columns, and 182 monad wide. And also the first one that is activated is the one that's going to be turned on when you first log into Qtile. So every time you log out and back in, whichever one is the first one that's activated, it's going to be the layout that's automatically turned on, okay? If you notice, these ones that are there by default that are deactivated, so it has like this one, layout is BSP with brackets, layout matrix is with brackets. So all these layouts have nothing inside the brackets. So the 4 layouts I'm using, I put asterisk, asterisk, layout theme inside the brackets. So I'm using the layouts, directing it to my layout theme, which is 168, and line 168 to 174, I put in there by having asterisk, asterisk, layout underscore theme. It's directing the layouts to follow what's in here. Now you can see some of the things here I have commented out are that they are deactivated. I was playing around with them and I didn't feel like deleting them. I wanted to keep them there, so I left them there. Line 172 is which makes the border focus orange, as you can see up here. If you don't like the orange, you can deactivate line 172 and you can try 173, activate line 173, which is a lime green. You can activate line 174, which is a red. I also have line 170, which is a light brown, and 171, which is a dark brown. So now line 169 is the margin, and the margin is set at 12. Let's change that to a 3 and see what happens. So now I'm going to save the file, and I'm going to do Control Mod key R to reset Qtile. So now you see, let's just open up, see the gap is much smaller, eh? Look at that, eh? Now let's go back to workspace 6 and let's change that. Let's deactivate that line and see what happens. Let's put the hashtag there. Let's save the file. Let's go do Control Mod key R to reset it. So now look at it. So here you can see the focus. There's the focus. Look at, there's no gaps at all, eh? Look at that. There's no gaps. Now let's go back to workspace 6. Comment that out and let's make the red. Control Mod key R is going to reset it. Okay, so now the border is red and there's no gaps at all. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to deactivate the red. I'm going to activate the orange because I like the orange. And right now I have no margins on, right? So I had it at 12. So I'm going to put 12 back. And I got to take the hashtag out to activate the line. And let's save it. So let's do Control Mod key R. So now we have gaps or margins. We have spaces and also the border is orange. Now also, let's say you want the border to be thicker. Let me click on this one and let's go to line 168. I'm going to change on line 168. I'm going to take out that 2 and I'm going to put an 8 in there. Okay. And let's save it and let's restart Qtile. Control Mod R. Okay. Now there's the border. Okay. Now you don't have to make it an 8. So if I click on here, there's my focus border and on here is my focus border. And of course, like I said, you don't have to make it an 8. You can make it whatever you want. Now I'm just going to change it back to 2 because that's where I had it. And I'm going to save the file. And Control Mod R is going to reset it. There you go. Now you have it back to 2. And that's it. So in this video, I showed you how to change the focus from follow the mouse to click, which makes it much easier to use the layout icon. I showed you how to move an app to your second monitor, if you have a second monitor. I showed how to change the GNOME calculator from being full screen to floating and to make it a nice size. I showed how to change the size of your app when you have 2 apps open on one workspace or one group. I showed how to change the border color, and I showed how to change the size of your gaps or your margins and to change it so that there's no gaps or no margins, or to change it so that the gaps and margins are much smaller. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mensch.